Tim Bontemps yesterday of ESPN suggested that he's hearing Washington plans on not playing Trae Young or Anthony Davis much, or maybe even at all down the stretch. So, by the way, kudos to them if that's the case.
Yes.
Hey, you know that injury you've got, Trae Young? It's hurting, right? It's like, I was hopping around. And
it's hurting, right?
I was in the John Wall jersey, like high-fiving everyone, and at the Caps game, I'm getting around just fine. No. You're still hurt. That's exactly what they should be doing. Tank the tank to the tank. Go get that top 5 pick and win that damn lottery. I'm hoping they're picking 1, 2, or 3, and they get a superstar and a plug-and-play starter, and it changes everything for years to come. They're doing that correctly. But the second part of this, man, that they may be extending both of these players this summer. It would change how I feel about these trades. And we're trying to figure out if you guys feel the same at 800-636-1067.
One of my main reasons to advocate for the trade and why I was, anybody that was interested, we were going back and forth via text and, texting friends and Wizards fans and whoever about it, is this flexibility that this provides. Again, the downside, the trap door, is if this doesn't work out with, especially, say, Anthony Davis. If it doesn't work with Anthony Davis, it's because he's hurt all the time and it's not working, and he and Sarr are too redundant. They're both kind of fours, and they don't really play as well together as maybe you thought, and Davis has lost too much, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, fine. You now have a deal that's basically on the way to expiring, and you can be the facilitator of something in terms of trades to unlock that, to unload that. You're not in any kind of rush. You don't think, from a basketball perspective, because your best player is this rookie to be named later, hopefully, that you do well in the lottery and then in the draft. So him as a rookie, that maybe not ready to lead you to a championship just yet. So the timeline is fine. If he is, now he's a key cog, a la Tim Duncan going to the Spurs that time. The point is, that goes away if Anthony Davis is here for 5 years. Now, this is still the way the NBA works. If you look at the free agents to be, it's not what it used to be where the free agent frenzy was everything. It's now all trades. If you want a superstar, you get them in trade. Paul George signing a couple of years ago via free agency was kind of the last marquee name. It's all, hey, I want to go here. And then 2 years in, you know what? I'm asking for a trade. And then it's granted. This is the way out. And this is what you have to do to stockpile the assets. But that becomes a lot harder to do with 3.5 years or 4 years more of Anthony Davis, who's already in his 30s.
Here's the way I would describe it for me. When I found out they were trading for Trae Young, the first thing I did was look at his term to see how much contract he had. Now, in the Trae Young case, I will also be very candid here. I am less excited about him than I am Anthony Davis. I think Trae Young's game, while exciting and high-flying, so to speak, with his scoring ability, is not winning basketball. It does not help you in that way. I have my own concerns about him as just a point guard. But that having been said, I can get down with this next year, improving, making the postseason, and helping teach guys like Trey Johnson and Alex Sarr and Bilal Coulibaly and Keyshawn George what it's like to play in meaningful basketball games. I do think that's part of the process, and it is a necessary part of the process. So I'm cool with that. But if I would have found out at the time, let's say they're extending him for 4 years or whatever, that's the contract that they're inheriting, I would have liked that trade way less.
Same here.
And same with with the deal yesterday for Anthony Davis. The first thing when you find out they're trading Anthony Davis that anybody asked yesterday was, did they give up their top 10 pick this year, their top 8 protected pick? As soon as you find out the answer is no, you're going, okay. And they didn't give up any of the players I really like on this team? I mean, all the way down to like your seventh favorite Wizard, like Champagne or whoever that is. They didn't give up any of those guys? All right, I can get down with this. But the next thing you're wondering is, when can they get out of this? If the bad part shows up, if the injuries all the time, if the constant inability to get on the floor rears its head, how quickly can you get out of this? Oh, wait, it's at worst 2 seasons? Where's the downside?
Yeah.
But if the extension comes with him that they're about to sign, and it's actually like 5 years of Anthony Davis, I would have been way less excited and more underwhelmed by this idea. So that's where I'm at on it. Like, you're opting into a thing that would have made this less fun for me anyway.
I think that's well put. Because part of the mastery to me, or the excitement, is that front office mastery, where you are playing 3-dimensional chess, where everyone else is kind of mired in 2-dimensional checkers, right? Where you are stockpiling all these assets. You took, again, a contract and a player that, was kind of holding you back. Good player in Bradley Beal, but you moved on from him and moved on from Kyle Kuzma, who's, role piece for a team that's looking to sell off at the deadline. And you took that and all these future picks, and now you're converting it into potentially far more lucrative assets, into a better spot for a team that's going somewhere. I know it's hard for Wizards fans to hear because they haven't gone anywhere yet, but you look at all the young pieces, you look at what's the potential in this draft this year, you close your eyes and go, I could see a scenario where that team is formidable in the East. I get it now. I get what they're doing. Even a diminished version of Trae Young that's been through the ringer a little bit is still a pick-and-roll weapon, is still a good penetrator, still a guy that can get other players involved at a really, really good level. They don't have that. Having Anthony Davis can only help when he's on the court, etc. And that's fine. But is that worth now a combined $100 million in salary between the two of them for the next 5 years? Probably not, to me. And it's a lot less exciting in terms of the deal if you're bound to them for kind of longer than the original term. The flexibility is part of the appeal to me.
Danny is at Funny Danny. I'm at Grant H. Paulson if you want to comment on social. The other thing I go back and forth on, we could put a pin in this for later in the show, but if they were going to extend one of these two guys, who would you rather extend? Because I like Anthony Davis, the player, way more than I like Trey Young, the player. But Anthony Davis is 32 and Trey Young's 27. And Anthony Davis is a Yaroslav Halak to miss a lot of basketball games. Trey Young, this year, there's evidence, right? He may get hurt, but he's also got some 76 games played seasons in there, 3 of the last 4 or 5 years, I think it is. Let's go to Chris and Culpeper on Grant and Danny. What's up, Chris? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How you been?
Good, buddy.
Hey, I love the move. We haven't been able to bring this type of talent in for 25 years. Having these guys come in to teach the young guys is amazing. They can flip it multiple ways. It works out. We keep Anthony Davis and Trey Young. You have your number 2. You have your power forward now, or your center to go with Sar. I think it's just a great move.
So you're okay with extending both this summer before they play a minute with the Wiz?
I would extend Trey. You have to, and you were just talking about it. It's because of the age. He's 27. Yeah. He can still play the position amazingly. Keep him healthy. Like you said, pick and roll, pop, shoot. Opens up the floor for the other guys. I just like the moves. The Wizards haven't been able to do anything like this ever. And if somebody said Anthony Davis and Trey Young was coming in 2 years ago, you'd have laughed at everybody.
Oh, their front office is moving and shaking. Yeah. I mean, they are putting on a clinic. There's no doubt. It's a good phone call. Thank you. 800-636-1067 if you want to hop in. I love what they're doing. This would be the first time where I'd go, put my finger up and go, hey, call on me. We sure we want to do this? Like, you want to make the Trey Young deal? I get the path here. I get what we're doing. Because, again, with each of these, there's a risk that is massively mitigated by how quickly it can end. It's like getting down on a knee and proposing with someone I'm not sure about yet. There's no harm in dating. You come to my place on Thursday. I come to your place on Friday. We meet up at the movies on Saturday, but you work in the morning, so we both sleep at each other. You know, at my house and your house. But Sunday we'll hang out and watch the football game. But when you get down on that knee and it's forever, man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel anymore.
So again, they're smarter than me. That's obvious. That's not a contest. But there are a couple times where I go, okay, I don't quite see what they're doing here with the Jordan Poole contract. I don't quite see what they're doing with the Kyle Kuzma contract. Now I do. Now it made sense.
Right.
And now I'm kind of back. I thought I'm in a room where I see the chalkboard. I go, oh, there's the calculation. I get it. If this is true, the lights are dimming again. And I'm going, damn it, now I'm back behind.
Explain this one to me.
Yeah.
And to your point, they deserve some benefit of the doubt because each time when you go, this one doesn't make sense, it's step 3 of their 7 steps.
Yeah, there's a corresponding move to a corresponding move, and then there's a third move. Went, damn it, I never saw that coming.
It's the 3-dimensional chess that they're playing,
yes.
And we're staring at the chalkboard right up front, but we got to be pulled all the way back to see the whole picture that they've drawn. Jim's in Silver Spring. What's up, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, just a quick thing. Almost every single NBA trade nowadays is about moving bad contracts and mitigating circumstances. And I totally agree with what Brian Windhorst said this morning. This is a trade for an aging, injured, 32, almost 33-year-old guy, 8 journeymen, 2 late number ones. Dallas' sole motivation was Davis's $62 million player option that's sitting out there for 27, 28. When he's 34 or 35 and he's getting around in a walker, Dallas didn't want the specter of that on their books. And I think the only way you keep Davis, if you're Washington, I think, is if you go ahead and try to extend him, like pull the James Harden trip, extend him so if you can get some of those out-year numbers down. And, in Atlanta's case, They didn't like the fact that Trey Young had a $49 million player option next year. They've been to this rodeo for 7 years and wanted a new look. I think next year you take a look at both of them, then you think about extending, but both of them are really a lot of risk right now for maybe not much reward.
Yeah, let's live together first. You know, to stick with my analogy of getting down on a knee. Appreciate
Smart
the
call, bud.
He said something really, I think, insightful there, though. He didn't mean it this way, but when he talked about every trade made is to get out of basically a bad contract. Every time I think you can't get out of a contract, teams get out of the contract. Every single time. I thought they would be tied to that stupid Brad Beal contract that was so dumb and so stupid. And I thought that contract was so stupid and so dumb. That dumb, stupid contract.
Summarize it with 2 words.
I would say dumb and stupid.
Those are 2 good ones.
To pay a player who is not a superstar, like a superstar, but then tell everyone he's a superstar. It was such a dumb, stupid contract.
What about if you gave him a no-trade clause also?
But they got out of it. They got out of. Everyone gets out of all of these all the time.
Well, because
so even if you pay Anthony Davis and it blows up in your face, they could probably get out of it.
Eventually. So, yes, because you always need a facilitator. This is the other little sneaky thing that good front offices do. When you're not competing for championships at this point, and they are not competing for championships, they're competing for the right to get some players that might help them one day compete for championships. You act as the facilitator. When you can no problem, I'll take your trash. Give me your garbage. That's how you get picks. That's how you get pick swaps. That's how you get the protected first. That's how you get all these nice future assets. When you've got a clean sheet, so to speak, you go, I could take on your garbage.
But you pay the piper when you have to be the team giving it up.
When you give it up, that you're giving up future assets to do that. I don't want to be in that spot yet.
I don't want to box myself back in. That's the old Grunfeld paint yourself in the corner thing. Alex in Silver Spring on the Fan. The report from ESPN was, as we're all celebrating Trey Young and Anthony Davis next season, they might extend both of these guys for the long term.
I say, let me ask you this, guys. I don't know about basketball players and all that. I know the contracts on football. You know how some players, like, say, whatever they came out, don't they have some money also that the other team still they're going to receive next year or whatever? Is that the case?
No, it's not like that. Fully guaranteed,
it's not
and the
that.
Wizards are paying the freight.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my thing. I say let's see how it plays out, how they play. You could put out there a report or a rumor. Look, we're going to pay both of these guys. But just don't do it, and then see how it plays out.
I mean, that's real 3D chess.
So here's what I wonder about that, and I appreciate the call. The way the NBA works now, and it's not something I'm a fan of. It's just this is the reality. It's the Rich Paulization of the league, where these agents are so beyond powerful. They're more powerful than the GMs, the commissioners, and everything else. They orchestrate all this stuff.
Scott Boras in baseball is no different.
Yeah. So I wonder if, in order for this particular trade, thinking of Davis, but maybe both of them, honestly, to happen, for everyone to agree to it, right? Because what happens a lot of time is you'll get a player that goes, "You're being traded to Washington." No, I'm not. Buyout. Get me out of there. I'm not doing that. I'll go sign somewhere else. And then they throw a big fit, whether it happens or not. I wonder, in order to facilitate the trade, that had to be part and parcel with the deal. And it'll never be official. You're not allowed to say that, but maybe that's what it was behind the scenes. I worry about that.
It's a really good question. Obviously, I don't have an answer. God, I hope not. That is like the underbelly when you cut it open and look and you go, it's the part you don't want to know about. The part that this deal, whatever you graded it as yesterday, gets graded worse. And you don't have to agree with me. For me, significantly worse if it comes with a long-term commitment to the 32-year-old who gets hurt all the time.
Where were you yesterday? Not 1 to 10.
7.
Where are you today if this is true? Like, it's, I'd say 3 years on top of the player option.
4.5.
I was a 9 and down to a 5.
Yeah, I mean, just because the little voice in the back of my head that goes, he's 32. He's going to be hurt. It doesn't matter. I just silence that voice and go, so what? The floor on this thing is very high. It's going to be over soon if it's bad, and the contract immediately becomes basically a 1-year deal with expiring money that is a gigantic asset in the sport. Not if you're extending him. There's nothing about that contract anybody wants. You got to put clothespin to that thing with picks, with a Keyshawn George or whatever, just to eventually get out of him. Trey in South Boston, how are you?
What's going on, GPA, Danny?
Hey,
I want to say if you're going to extend either one of them, probably extend Trae, just because this is probably the cheapest that he's going to be. Having this kind of injury-prone season, moving on next year, if he does start to return to the player that we're kind of used to, at that point he's probably going to be more expensive than what you can get him for now. But Anthony Davis, coming in is almost reminiscent to me of when Chris Paul was playing with the Thunder. That's when SGA, Jalen Williams, those guys were super young. And Chris Paul kind of showed them how to win, and so I'm hoping that's what Davis can become for a star. But the point was, the Thunder knew to let Chris Paul go so that SGA can come into his own. So I'm just hoping that the Wizards recognize that as well and don't make that mistake. That's all I had today, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, I could see, if I had to pick one to extend, it would be Young over Davis just because of the injury history. I know it's ironic to say that.
More so than the age?
Yeah.
Because like if Anthony Davis was healthy the last couple years in 32, you're cool with his game aging for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, because it's not based solely on athleticism and quickness, right? Like he's still 7 foot tall with the wingspan of a condor. He's still very useful in a lot of ways. Whereas with Young, again, he is not the. It sounds crazy. He's almost 28, but he's not the all-world lethal penetrator that he was. Just a couple of years ago when he had his team in the Eastern Conference Finals. He's still really good. He's still useful, and they need that more than they need 25 to 50 games of Anthony Davis. They don't have a point guard to get the development of some of these other guys. I want Sarr in pick and roll action until he's tired. Then he can take a break, get his arrow, call timeout. Then he can get back in and do it again. And I don't want Trey Young to do it. I want Trey Johnson to get easier shots. I want development of my guys. I think that's more facilitating to that than necessarily trying to learn how to play with Davis.
It feels good to be talking like this.
It's way more fun, man.
This basketball
Yeah.
team, right? And what I mean is, yeah, I want them to do the right things. I don't want them to get boxed into deals. But if the new, oh no, they did that, is they paid Anthony Davis to be a Washington Wizard for longer,
yeah,
it's a nice little departure from where we've been.
That's a very good point.
Anthony Davis is the most accomplished player to wear this team's uniform since Michael Jordan, in my opinion. Michael Jordan for a year in the early 2000s. I don't think anybody's close. You brought up Paul Pierce.
Pierce would be
yesterday.
a consideration.
I'm a Paul Pierce guy. I think Anthony Davis's career fairly dwarfs his, to be honest with you, just in terms of overall. But maybe we could have that debate.
Huh.
But I think
that's not crazy,
Anthony Davis is like the most important NBA player to play here when he plays since Michael Jordan. So it's a nice little thing to be able to talk like this. And then Trey Young, who's just a casual, like 28 and 10 and waiting, maybe.
Yeah, down year. How about 19 and 9? Down year, by the way. Now again, he defends like I do. You have to hide him and then it'll fit right in with this group right now. But again, that's worth the price of admission to me for the development on the other side of some of these other guys. For me.